Okay, guys, so let's get started. On Monday, we had a quick look at the different types of tariffs that we get. We covered water tariffs. Today, we're going to be looking at electricity and, if we've got some time, cell phone tariffs. Okay, so we've got another lesson planned for tariffs where we'll look at the transport tariffs. So before we get started with the electricity tariffs, it's also just important to know roughly what they are about. So electricity usage is measured in kilowatts per hour. So you'll always see the kWh units next to your consumption in your questions. Okay, electricity has two types of billing options. So two ways that they can charge you for water. It can be prepaid or it can be a fixed billing system. So that's the fixed billing system is when you just use water for the whole month and then you get your bill at the end of the month based on how much you've used. Obviously, prepaid means you pay before you use the water. Electricity. Electricity is charged according to a sliding scale, just like the water tariffs. The more electricity you use, the higher the rate charged. Okay, so electricity can be paid for beforehand or at the end of the month. So just like water again, it is charged on a sliding scale. The more electricity used, the more you're going to pay. So when it comes to electricity tariffs, it can be asked in many ways. So each question I've given you today, you'll see it's been asked in a different way, and they've given you different kinds of information. So I chose this first one because it's very similar to water tariffs. So that's still fresh in your mind from Monday. So keeping that water tariff information in your mind, let's have a look at our worked example. It says, the table below indicates the example of sliding scales for electricity tariffs. So we've got block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4. And we've got our different ranges, just like with water tariffs, and then the cost per range or per block. Okay, so very similar setup to electricity tariffs. Water tariffs, sorry, again. Wontley, I see that you say that you can't hear. Kia, you may be able to help her with that. Help them.
Yes, yes.
Okay. First question, write down the tariff per kilowatt per hour charged in block 2. How much do you get charged if you fall into block 2? What would you guys say? What is the charge for block 2? Okay, yeah, there we go. Kylie, I was just about to say. Okay, so the reason I'm asking you this, and I want you to check out the charge, can you see that electricity tariffs are given mainly in cents? They normally charge in cents. We've got 0.8375 cents for block 1. Block 2 is 0.9440 cents. Okay, so your answer for number 1 was just a basic reading level 1 type question, okay, is 0.9440. We keep all the decimal places because that's what the charge is. It's not our final answer after a calculation. Okay, so well done for everyone that picked up on that. Then it says, determine the amount to be paid for 250 kilowatt hours of electricity, including VAT. So remember, important thing, we always check if the prices are VAT exclusive or VAT inclusive. And as we can see, according to the table, these prices do not include VAT. So that means after our calculation, we have to include VAT. So just like the water tariffs that we did on Monday, we have to determine which range we fall into, which block we fall into for this example. Which block does 250 kilowatt hours fall into? Block 1, 2, 3, or 4? Okay, 250 fits into block 2. Now, just like I did with the water terrace, I'm going to cross out the 350 because we're not going all the way to 350. We're going up until 250. And just like the water terrace, we have to start in the first range and work our way down into the range we are sitting in. Okay, so well done to everyone who picked up that it's block 2. Okay, so to work out the costs, we're going to look at our first range. The first range is 50 kilowatt hours. So we're going to say 50 times by the price of that range. Plus, we go to our next range. We end at 250, but remember, we're going to say 250 minus the 50 we've just been charged for. So that means we're only going to have 200 kilowatt hours in this block. So I'm going to say 200 times by the price of block 2. And because in Maths Lit, we get lots of method marks, we're going to show all our working out. Okay. And I'm also going to highlight something important here. Can you see my answer for the first bracket has 3 decimal places? Okay, it's really important that we keep all our decimals until the end. And once we're at the end, we round off to 2 decimal places. We've just been lucky enough that in all the past lessons, all our brackets ended up with 2 decimal places. So here, you are going to keep all 3 decimal places until the end. Okay. When I add everything up, you end up with 230,675. We then need to add our VAT. So again, we did learn last week the various ways you can add your VAT. This is just the way that I prefer, but you're welcome to do the long method or times by 1,15. And you should get an answer of 265,28. That is the cost of using 250 kilowatt hours of electricity. Can we see how similar that was to the water tariffs on Monday? All right. I'm going to move on to the next question. If there are any questions on this one, let us know in the chat. But everyone's pretty quiet, so I'm assuming we are fine. Okay, so that was a nice, happy, easy one, getting us into the flow of things because it's very similar to the water tariff. But like I said, can be asked differently. Now, to try on your own, exercise 1. Use the table below to answer the questions that follow. So a similar table I've just given you. Okay, we've got different prices though. They don't tell us anything about VAT in this table. So if they don't, we're just going to assume that we don't have to worry about VAT unless the question says anything. And yeah, we've got block 1, block 2, block 3, and 4 again. Tiamo, did I round off my answer for the first one? Yes, I did, to 2 decimal places. The final answer needs to be 2 decimal places. Okay. So everyone, I'm going to ask you to please complete question 1 for me using this table. I'll give you 2 minutes. I'll let you know when you guys can put your answers in the chat. For now, I just want everyone to give it a go first.
Monique, can you please show the example again so that Bianca can take a screenshot?
Sure, let's quickly go up.
Bianca, please make sure you take a screenshot. If you're done, just make a thumbs up for us. Okay, great.
Okay, everyone. Now, based on that worked example, let's see if you understood what was happening in the electricity tariff question. Okay. No worries, Susanna. We have just done one example on electricity tariffs. And now we're trying a question by ourselves, very similar to the example we just did, and very similar to water tariffs that we did on Monday. Same sort of concept. So maybe give it a shot, read the question and try your best. And let's see how it goes. Okay, if you guys are ready, let me see your answers in the chat. And if you want to explain to us how you got your answer, raise your hand. It would be lovely to hear from you guys. Nice. These are great answers. Ayabonga, remember the 0 after the 4, 2 decimal places. Nice. Well done. Lihle, same with you and Joyce. Remember to add the 0 after the 4 because we need to have 2 numbers after our decimal point when we're working with money. Nice, guys.
Everyone is getting these answers so right. I love it.
Well done. Okay, so we're assuming VAT is already included, so we just had to do the normal calculations. So just to quickly run through the steps for those of you that didn't get the answer. First step is to determine which range we fall into, which is the second block. We're going up to 270 and we work our way down from the first range. Okay, so our cost will be in the first range, we're getting charged for the first 50 kilowatt hours, so 50 times by that price, plus for our second bracket, we take our 270 minus the 50 we've just been charged for in the previous block, so we left with 250. Sorry, 220 times by the price, which gives me 38 plus 213,4, which is what the calculator would have given you. But remember, money, we add that 0. So our final answer will be apologies, my pencil is 251,40, which is the majority answer that I saw in the chat. So well done. Looks like everyone's got the hang of this. Okay. Let's have a look at the second question. So it says, in January 2023, they used 351 kilowatt hours. Determine the difference between the 2 months' payments. Okay, so let's just pay attention to what they've asked for in this question. They have given us 350 kilowatt hours, and we need to work out the difference between the 2 months. So before we can work out the difference, we have to work out the cost for the next month. Okay, so let me just bring that table a bit closer. And I'm going to ask you guys to try question 2 for me.
Bianca, do you have a question? Would you like to be unmuted?
Hi, me. I wanna ask something on your question 1. Like, I don't understand the cost. Your first line, it's 50 times 0.76 in brackets plus 220 times 0.97. I wanna understand how you got the 220. I don't understand that part.
Okay, so it's very similar to what we did on Monday for the water tariffs. So if you weren't part of that lesson, it might be advisable to go back and just watch that. They are available on the Watobe website, but I'm going to try explain quickly now as well. So because we're looking at 270 kilowatt hours, we go to block 2, but we don't just use block 2 only. The first 50, as you can see, it says 0 to 50, we charged at a slightly cheaper price. So the first 50 units of electricity that you use is going to be charged at a cheaper price. After that, so 51 to 350, you're going to get charged at a slightly higher rate. So if you use over 50, you're now going to pay a little bit more. So we have to do the calculations separately. So that's what I did for this first bracket. I took the first 50 that they used out of the 270 and charged or times by the cheaper rates. But then if we look at our 270 minus the 50 we were just charged for now, we are still left with 220. And that 220 falls into that second block, which is a slightly higher price. So I've taken the 220 that's left over times by that price in the second bracket, and I've just added everything together. Okay, and if someone used even more than that and they ended up in block 3, you would take the leftover bits and times it by the more expensive rate of block 3, and so on. but we didn't need to do that because they didn't use as much electricity. Does that help? Okay, guys, let me know your answers for question 2. You can let me know what the cost was for the 351 units, as well as the difference. Okay, anyone else wanting to give their answers? I do see yours, Ayabonga. I'm going to check it now. Okay, no one else want to give me the answers. Okay, so let's go through it. We're looking at 351 kilowatt hours. So that falls into block 3. So remember, we have to start from block 1 and work our way down to block 3. We're not going all the way to 600. So I'm going to cross that out and we're at 351. Okay, so because we're going across 3 blocks, that means I'm going to have 3 brackets, 3 different calculations. First block, we're using the 50. So it's 50 times by 0.76 plus. In the second block, we're going to say 350 minus, I'm just going to write on the top here, 350 minus the 50 we were just charged for in the first block. So I'm left with 300 times by 0.97. And then in our range, the third range, it's 351 minus the 350 we were just charged for. So I'm going to write here 351 minus 350. So it's literally just 1 unit in this next block. Okay. And I'm just seeing a lot of comments in the chat. So let me just see if I need to explain this. Sure, yes. That's brilliant answer. Okay, I can see a lot of you are quite close. Ayavilla, super close, just your decimals off. Okay, great answers, guys. Why did I subtract the second one with 50? Okay, so I did just explain this. I'm going to just zoom in here. Will it let me? So guys, we always have to start from the top range and work our way down to the range we're looking at. In this range, I'm going to charge this person 76 cents for the first 50. We know that they've used over 50 units of electricity, but their first 50 is going to be the cheap rates. So now that's what I did in this first bracket. I'd say 50 units, the first 50 they used, they were charged 76 cents. Then I go into the next block because their consumption made them fall into the next block. But that range goes up to 350, but I'm not charging them for the full 350 units because I've already charged them for 50 at the cheaper rates. So now they have 300 left over in this range because it only goes up to 350. So I'm saying 350 minus the 50 that they've been charged for at the cheaper rates. Okay. And then that's why in the last brackets, I said 351 because that's actually how much they used. But in total, I've already charged them for 50 and 300, which makes 350. So that's why I'm left with 1 unit in the last bracket. So as they go from block to block, they get charged a higher rate, but they still need to get the good rates at the top, therefore, the first little bit that they use. So as they move down and use more, they get charged higher. But I'm not just going to go to block 3 straight away and say 351 times by the R1.16. They still need to get charged the other rates first. Okay. So now, showing our working out so we can get all our method marks. We do the brackets. And we get an answer of 330,16. Okay, so that's how much it was for January. Now, the actual question wanted us to work out the difference between the 2 months. So I'm going to take the January month, 330,16 minus the previous month, which we worked out to be 251,40. And our answer is 78,76. Okay, do I have any questions here? Nice, Chantal. I know, Superior, it's not that easy to understand, but we just need to practice. And this is very similar to what we did on Mondays. So if we're still not getting it, we might need to rewatch Monday's one as well as today's one, and then try today's questions. Okay. But like I said, electricity tariffs are asked in many different ways, and this is just one way, which is very similar to water tariffs. Are we happy to move on and try a different one? Give me a thumbs up, smiley face, or thumbs down in the chat. Okay, I do see your question. Kailetu, just try again in your calculator because I do get that answer. Joyce, 251, that was our previous question's answer. Number 1. Okay, so here was 251,40, and the question number 2 asked us to work out the difference between the 2 months. So I've just taken the month that we just worked out minus the previous month. Ayavela, did you get the same totals as me? Because if you do and you minus them, I do get 78,76. So just check again for me. Okay. Okay, Kylie, glad it's worked out. All right, everyone, let's have a look at this next exercise. So as you can see, this table is very different to the 2 tables you have seen. Okay, it says below are the rates for 2 electricity suppliers. We've got Empower rates and we've got municipality rates. And then they tell us in the side here what their rates are. So Empower charges 2.89 per day, and it says it applies whether they use electricity or not. And then after that, it is 66 cents per unit used. So every day of the month, they're going to get charged 2.89 for every day of the month, plus 66 cents for every unit. Then the second supplier only charges 95.16 cents per unit. They also say there's a 30% rebate for pensioners. Now, remember, we dealt with the word rebates in personal tax, and rebate basically means a discount. Okay. So all I've done now is just had a look at the table and highlighted the important information before I even looked at the questions. Okay, so we've got two different companies that charge different rates or different tariffs for the electricity. So let's go into the question and see what we need. If a household used 380 units of electricity in January and they were charged using the M-Power rate, what would they have to pay for electricity in rands for the month? Okay, so important part of this question is that we're looking at 380 units. January is important. And we're looking at M-Power. They also want our answer in rands, because as you can see, they have given us the charge in cents. So that's also important. So those are 4 important things from our question. So let's look at how we'd work out the cost for the M-Power tariff. So first up, before this household even uses electricity, they are going to be paying R2.89 per day. How many days are we working out for? Kailetu, I'll let you try the next one if that's okay. Or you can help me with the calculations. Good, okay. That's why I highlighted January, because January gave us a clue as to how many days they're using electricity for, which is 31 days. So before they even use electricity, they're already paying R2.89 for 31 days. Okay. Plus, so that's just the first part of the tariff. The next part of the tariff is 66 cents per unit. They are using 380 units. And remember, when we write cents in rand form, I'm just going to write it here. It's 66 divided by 100. So in rand form, it will be 0.66 because they wanted our answer in rands. That's why I highlighted in rands. Okay, so 380 units times by 66 cents. Okay, is everyone happy with that so far and understanding what I've just done and understanding how this question's been laid out? If not, let me know in the chat. I'm going to continue until then. Okay, so like I always say, let's show our working out. So the first bracket is 89,59 plus the second bracket is 250,80 cents. Which means this household is going to pay 340 Rand and 39 cents for using 380 units with M-Power. Okay. If there are any questions, let me know in the chat. If you are feeling confident and ready to try one by yourselves, have a look at question 2 and try it for me. Okay, Nomple, I see your question. Okay, so just quickly to explain the empowered tariff again. Okay, I'm just going to use the color blue. So normally all we have to do is literally, they've given us all the information in this question. They told us firstly that they charge R2.89 per day. And they say it doesn't matter if they are using electricity or not, they have to pay that for every single day of the month. And then after that, they also charge 66 cents per unit. Okay, so in this question, this household was using 380 units. Okay, and it was in January. So that is why, before I even worried about the units, I first did the first bracket, which was the mandatory 2.89 times 31 days, because that's what this household needs to pay, even if they use 0 units. Okay. And then according to what they say in the table, on top of that, they charge 66 cents for the number of units. So that's why I've done the second bracket and I've just added everything together. Okay, so all I've done is just taken the information and applied it to the 380 units. Let me know if that helps. Hey guys, let me know your answers in the chat. Great, Nomple, I'm glad that it helps, or it did help. Anyone want to Kailetu? Okay, Kailetu, great. We're missing some decimals there. Anyone else? Kailetu, do you want to speak for us and tell us how you did that? You keen to do that, Kailetu? Okay, cool. Unmute yourselves. Sorry. Okay, Kailetu, are you ready? Struggling to unmute. Kia, are you able to assist, please?
Yes. All right, there you go.
Afternoon, ma'am.
Hello, how you doing?
Fine, and you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm excited to hear how you got
Thanks.
this answer.
So, firstly, I took 95.16 cents, then I divided it by 100 to get
Perfect.
0.9 cents.
Good.
And
Okay,
then-
so just pause there for a second. That is brilliant. So guys, 95.16 cents means it's 95.16 cents. It's not 95 Rand and 16 cents. All of that, the whole number is cents, which is really confusing. Okay. If we put the Rand sign there, different story. Okay. So that is all in cents. So we have to divide by 100 first to get it into Rands. Okay, so that's a very important part, and I'm glad you picked up on it. Okay, so just so we know, the tariff is going to be 0.9516 cents. Okay, carry on.
Okay, and then I said 380 times 0.951. So 0.9516.
Okay, so remember you need to include all your decimals. So did you say 0.9516?
Yes.
Okay, and when you times the two, what do you get?
I got 361.608.
Okay, 361.608. Good. And now that is the final answer, we can round that to 2 decimal places, right?
Yes.
Which gives us 361,
Comma 661.
good, 61. Great rounding. Okay, I
Yes,
see that
and
you
then
picked
I
up some
say-
pensioners as well, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to do the normal rates, okay?
Yes.
But thanks for going the extra mile and well done. That was great. Really, really good work. Well done. Thank you so much for speaking as well. Really appreciate it. Okay. Thanks, Kylie. Do anyone else, are there any questions? Do we all understand? Pay special attention to this part over here. Okay. When it's written like that, 95.16 cents, you need to divide by 100. And that is one thing with electricity tariffs. They love to give you the tariffs in cents. So just know when electricity tariffs pop up, watch out for the cents. Sometimes it's not given in cents, but it can be. And it's more often than not. So all you do is divide by 100 and then problem solved. Okay. Okay, Ayavela, you don't multiply by 31 days. No, because that only applies to Empower. Okay, only they did the days, the charge per day. Okay. So can you see how these two electricity suppliers charge differently? So all you had to do here was just look at what was given to you and apply it to each company. Okay, guys, and that's something that you should also take note of with electricity tariffs. If you have a look at this question, could you have studied for this? No, because you wouldn't have seen this coming. But at the end of the day, all the information was there for you. Okay, you just had to read it, highlight the important stuff, understand it, and apply it to the question. But there's no ways that you could have studied for this question. But at least now you've been exposed to this type, so hopefully you can get something similar. Okay, so we've looked at 2 ways you can get asked electricity tariffs, this way as well as the previous one, which was very similar to a water tariff. Let's look at another way you can be asked it. Okay, so it says the Centrelec domestic tariffs for home flex single phase electricity from the 1st of July 2022 to the 30th of June 2023 are given as follows. Okay, so a whole lot of words there, but nothing actually important just yet. Okay, they were just giving you the dates. But this table gives you the different charges or the tariffs for electricity over 3 times. There's peak time, so that's a really busy time of day, standard time, and off-peak. So off-peak will be like your midnight to 4 a.m. type of time frames. Okay, that's off-peak. So not when electricity is not being used by majority of the population. Okay, so we've got a peak time, standard time, off-peak. And then table also gives us a summer tariff and winter tariff, or summer charges and winter charges. And can you see again, just what I told you to look out for is that they've given us the amounts in cents per kilowatt hour, or cents per unit. Okay, so before we do any calculations, whatever charge we're looking at here, we're going to need to divide by 100 first. Okay, so it's very important with electricity. Watch out for how they give you the charge. Is it in rands or cents? Okay. So looking at the question, it says Sophie's daily electricity usage in the summer is as follows. So important information is summer. Okay, and they tell you how much she uses during the peak time, standard time, and off-peak time. Because remember, each of those times have a different charge. They're obviously going to charge you more for electricity if you're using it from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. because that is a peak time, because most people are using electricity during that time, as well as 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Most people are using electricity during that time because everyone's home, getting ready for work or getting ready for bed and doing, the usual things at home before they go to work or before they go to bed. So you're going to get charged more there because there's a huge demand for electricity then. There's a lot of pressure on the electricity then. So you get charged a higher rate. Okay. So now it says calculate her daily cost in the summer. I'm going to ask you guys to quickly try this for me. And then Cassie, I see that Kia did reply to you. 30% rebates. Rebate basically means a discount, but for pensioners. But the question didn't mention anything about pensioners, so we didn't work out for them. If they did ask you to work out the cost for a pensioner, then you would just apply that discount. They get 30% off of the charge. Okay, if anyone's got the answer, you can put it in the chat for us. Okay, so with regards to the explanation, we literally just read through this table and we saw that you get 3 different charges for peak time, standard time, off-peak time, and you get charges for summer specifically and winter specifically. I also told everyone to pay attention because the money was given in cents per unit. And then, yeah, we had to work out how much it costs to use that amount of electricity over all the times. Well done, Kailetu. Yes, well done. Great. You're definitely understanding this. Anyone else want to give me the answers? Pleasure. Okay, guys, so on the screen, you'll see that I have already done the conversions just for the charges. I just converted everything to rands so far. I haven't done any calculations. I just converted everything. Nice, Bontle. 37,51. Perfect answer. Yes, Soraya. Good, guys. Okay, so that means you remember to convert your charges to rands, get it out of cents, and then to work out the costs. Sorry. We're going to take each time. So for peak, she used 12 units of electricity. The peak charge, I converted over there, is 2 rand, 0259. Remember to keep all your decimals while we work out. For the standard time, she used 7 units. Standard charge is 1,5194. Plus our off-peak, she used 2 units times by the charge. Okay. And again, we like to show all our working out, and remember to keep all your decimals until the end. I know it's a bit of a pain writing out all these numbers, but it is free marks. And if there are a lot of decimals, my advice is like cap it at 5 to 6 decimals. Okay, when you add that all together, I'm going to give you the rounded answer of 37,51. Okay, are there any questions with this one? If you do have questions, let us know in the chats. But just to summarize, as you can see in this lesson, there are various ways they can give you electricity tariffs in a test. The first way is very similar to water tariffs, which is probably the only way you can really study for. But if you look at all the other questions I've given you today, you can't study for this. You just need to keep practicing electricity tariff questions, so in past papers, and just expose yourself to the different ways they can ask it. But at the end of the day, all the information is always given to you. You just need to read it really carefully. And yeah, it's literally all there for you. The only thing that you also need to pay attention to is the cents thing. They love to give you the tariffs in cents when it comes to electricity tariffs. Okay.